all know that working in the Royal Navy and Royal Marines is a risky business, whether you're on the front line, on a RAS point in terrible weather conditions, or handling weapons. Now, Stuart, I know on a previous edition of 2-6 we spoke about the new Armed Forces Act 11. So where are we at with that now? What's happening?
The Armed Forces Act 11 is moving its way through Parliament now, and we expect it to be ready in July 2013. It's not going to change any of the existing regulations, but what it is going to do is add extra regulation so we can test for alcohol for people who are doing safety critical duties and where there's reasonable cause.
OK, so what's the plan today?
Well, what I thought for this episode, rather than the commander banging on again about alcohol, is to come on board HMS Lancaster and talk to just a few of the people who will be affected by Armed Forces Act 11. So we've got a duty petty officer, an officer day and a leading regulator.
So, Craig, how is AFA 11 going to work on board a ship?
Well, as the officer down board the ship, what it gives me a tool to positively identify whether anyone is under the influence of alcohol.
OK, so you've got a couple of limits now that you're working with, haven't you? What are they?
The two limits that are going to come in is effectively the zero limit, which is going to apply to people that are handling firearms or aircrew, LACs at sea, stuff like that. And then you've got the effectively what aligns to the UK drink drive limit, 35 milligrams. And this would be to your, I wouldn't say non-essential personnel, but it'd be people that are duty but not handling firearms, etc.
How then do you go about deciding when to test somebody? I mean, what do you look for?
I mean, I have to have reasonable cause to suspect that someone has been under the influence or is under the influence of alcohol. So all I need is a suspicion. And then I can refer them for the breathalyser to the leading reg.
OK, then it comes over to you and you do the breath test.
Yeah, the officer of the day will notify the service police, and that can be on an establishment, ship or submarine, coxswain in that respect. We'll take a breathalyser test using the breathalyser, and that will come back a fail or a pass. If it comes back a fail, we'll take a further urine or blood sample and we'll send that off for analysis. If it comes up a fail, it will tell us how much alcohol or drugs are in that system. Then we'll do a formal investigation on that individual.
So just literally having this piece of kit on board should act as a deterrent?
Yeah, definitely. It just should put something in the back of people's minds or embed it into them that, you know, that they shouldn't be drinking in excess prior to, you know, carrying out a critical duty or something that's going to put not only themselves at risk but, you know, everyone else on board or, you know, in a shore establishment or wherever they're working, basically.
And how do you think people are going to react to this? Do they need a bit more education? Will they need easing into it?
Education's certainly the key, and we intend to do that over the next few months. Then the legislation will come in July, and from that point on we'll be able to test safety critical duties using the breathalyser. I
mean, you're certainly not trying to stop people having fun, you're not trying to dissuade people from having runs ashore,
No, you know, the person who goes out and hasn't got a duty is not going to wake up and all of a sudden be, you know, stood in a line and breathalyzed. It is, as you know, we've said, it's definitely just for the people that are going to carry out a critical duty that's, you know, important for the ship and important for themselves and everyone else they've got to look after.
So finally, Stuart, to sum up now, the next stage?
Well, the next stage is see this progress through Parliament, get some education out, get the legislation in place, and then to understand that this will bring us into line with other professional organisations that do dangerous work and want the absolute assurance that when people are doing safety critical duties, then they can be safe to do so.